Have you ever felt that peculiar mix of frustration and intrigue when scrolling through endless off-season news, only to find the same recycled rumors and articles that promise much but deliver little? Then, out of nowhere, a trade proposal pops up. One of those nobody asked for, nobody expected, but that strangely, unsettlingly makes perfect sense. It's not explosive. It doesn't involve a superstar. It won't break Sportsnet's ticker. But there's something there. A subtle fit, a strategic silence. The trade suggested by a portal like Heavy.com, which usually flies under the radar, might actually be the game changer the Toronto Maple Leafs were looking for. And for a very simple yet profound reason, it solves two problems at once. And that, my friends, is rarer than a four-leaf clover in the concrete jungle. The Toronto Maple Leafs are navigating a delicate offseason. It's one of those periods where any wrong move can jeopardize not only the immediate present, but an entire long-term construction. Brad Trailerving has taken on the monumental responsibility of leading a surgical overhaul, meticulously seeking balance between aggressiveness, economic prudence, and a clear identity. In the midst of all this, two persistent headaches have emerged. The suffocatingly tight salary cap, which practically locks down any bold moves, and Nick Robertson's contract situation. Robertson, a young, undeniably talented forward, is surrounded by doubts, plagued by injuries, and facing an arbitration hearing that looms large on the horizon. Solving just one of these issues would already be cause for celebration. Solving both at once, in a single, well-executed trade, borders on genius. And that is precisely the audacious proposal. Sending Calle, Järnkrok, and Nick Robertson's rights to the San Jose Sharks in exchange for Mario Ferraro. Ferraro, a 26-year-old left-handed defenseman, despite still being in his prime years, might be becoming expendable in a franchise clearly in rebuild mode. For Toronto, this move offers something rarer than pure talent. Relief, clarity, and a genuine chance to transform their weaknesses into strengths. It's not a flashy trade, but it's precisely the kind of quiet, functional, strategic move that winning teams make. The kind that slips past unnoticed on Twitter, only to explode in impact come April. Let's start with the basics. Mario Ferraro, now 26, is a defenseman who has experienced the bitter side of the NHL, playing on a perpetually struggling team. Despite the constant losing, he has consistently played at a high level, becoming more than just a player. He's a symbol of resilience, even serving as an alternate captain for the Sharks. He's the type of player who stands out not by gaudy numbers, but by sheer effort, unwavering attitude, and a relentless way he approaches every single shift. He blocks shots as if they were goals, competes as if every game were his last. He's physical, intense, and perhaps most importantly, incredibly reliable. And in Toronto, where the playoffs have been a constant, agonizing ordeal, that kind of player makes a profound difference. His current contract, a manageable $3.25 million through 2026, is completely digestible within the current financial context, especially considering the consistent defensive value he delivers. But to fit him under the cap, Toronto needs to clear space. That's where Calle Järnkrok comes in. Järnkrok has been one of the most useful, versatile players on the roster. At 32, he can play on any line, helps kill penalties, possesses a high hockey IQ, finishes plays decently, and is consistently responsible. Coaches absolutely love having a Järnkrok on their team, but perhaps they love even more having cap space to maneuver. With the arrival of reinforcements like Dylan Gambrell and Tyler Bertuzzi, and the continued rise of promising young players like Matthew Knies and potentially Easton Cowan, Järnkrok's base of essential utility has shrunk. And when that happens, a useful player, unfortunately, becomes trade bait, plain and simple. And then we get to Nick Robertson. This is a genuine dilemma. A talent Toronto doesn't want to give up, but perhaps has to. Drafted as a highly touted prospect, Robertson's development has been tragically sabotaged by injuries over 3 seasons. Only now, in 2024-25, did he have a more stable run, and he showed tantalizing flashes of what he can truly be. He's agile, possesses a wicked shot, reads the ice well, and is still incredibly young. But he's on the brink of arbitration, forcing Toronto to make a critical decision. Re-sign him to a value that might not fit the budget, or risk losing him for nothing in the future. Including him in this trade passes his problem directly to San Jose, who, in turn, has ample cap space, time, patience, and plenty of minutes to give Robertson a new start, a new jersey, a real chance to restart his career without the crushing weight of expectation that comes with playing in Toronto. But let's pause for a moment and ask a sincere question. Why exactly would San Jose give up Ferraro? It's simple. Because perhaps he's no longer as central to their long-term plans as he once was. The Sharks added 3 defensemen in the offseason, clearly reshaping the identity of their defensive core. And according to David Pagnotta, although Ferraro has not formally requested a trade, he's reportedly open to a change of scenery, a subtle but incredibly revealing clue. Also, as reported by Max Miller and Pierre LeBrun, there's a consistent market for him. Colorado, Tampa Bay, Winnipeg, and Calgary have all checked on his name in the past. He's no ordinary player. He's a valuable asset. And for that reason, San Jose might be considering trading him now, before his value erodes on a rebuilding team that isn't contending. For Toronto, Ferraro's arrival would be a massive relief on several fronts. On the ice, he fills a crucial structural gap on the left side of the defense. He can seamlessly pair with Jake McCabe, or even with Timothy Liljegren, depending on rotations and matchups. He's a player who can handle heavy minutes, deals exceptionally well with top opposing lines, and brings the kind of competitive energy the Leafs have desperately sought in recent years. This is rarer than it seems. It's no use loading up the team with offensive stars if the back end remains vulnerable. The Leafs know that. They've learned it the hard way, season after agonizing season. And of course, the financial element cannot be ignored. The trade equation makes perfect sense. Ferraro's $3.25 million comes in, Järnkrok's $2.1 million goes out, and Robertson's likely $1.5 to $2 million arbitration award also departs. It's almost a direct swap of values, but with more future control and significantly less uncertainty for Toronto. The Leafs spend a bit more, but they gain predictability and a clearer path forward. And that word, on a team that needs a win now, is worth its weight in gold. On the other side, San Jose gets 2 assets who can help both today and tomorrow. Järnkrok is a type of veteran player who helps develop young talent. Consistent, experienced, unselfish. And Robertson is precisely the kind of high-risk, high-reward project rebuilding teams love. If it works out, the Sharks will have a 20-plus goal winger in the coming years on a controlled contract. If it doesn't, they lose a player who is no longer part of their core future plans. Now, returning to the human factor, what if we look beyond the numbers? Ferraro, despite playing on a recently unsuccessful team, has built a solid reputation in NHL locker rooms. He's a natural leader, respected by teammates, competitive to the last minute. In Toronto, this type of presence could be the antidote to years of silent playoff frustrations. Guys like him don't shine on the power play, but they hold the line when the game gets ugly, when every inch of ice is contested. Robertson, despite his turbulent path, remains well-liked within the group, admired for his commitment and perseverance. Letting him go wouldn't be easy. But again, sometimes the best thing you can do for a player is let him go to find his true potential elsewhere. Timing also heavily favors this move. Robertson's arbitration hearing is scheduled for August 3rd. Time is against Toronto. Any decision needs to be made before then, or the team risks being forced to accept a contract that doesn't fit its plans or its cap. In other words, the time is now. And this proposal, though still just an idea, could be the best realistic alternative available in terms of roster impact and problem solving. The trade would have immediate consequences. Calle and Calle would gain minutes. The defense would become more solid, and most importantly, the team would start the season closer to what it needs to face tough playoff series. Toronto has already seen what happens when it bets only on offensive talent. It's time to balance the ship. Ferraro might not be a star, but he's exactly the kind of reinforcement championship teams add when they realize talent alone doesn't solve everything. In the medium term, this trade could be the first step in a new cycle for the Leafs. A cycle that values consistency, identity, defensive responsibility, and perhaps gives more space to youngsters who are truly ready to step up. And for the Sharks, it could represent a new narrative, giving Nick Robertson a starring role he never truly had in Toronto. A fresh start away from the intense pressure, where he can develop his game without carrying the burden of saving an entire franchise. Of course, all of this depends on execution. The proposal needs to be well handled. There must be transparency with the players, good sense in negotiations, and above all, strategic vision. But if Brad Trailerving sees potential in this move as a pragmatic answer to real, pressing problems, he might be about to make one of the most discreet yet impactful decisions of his tenure. So, Leafs fan, now that you know everything, tell me, would you make this trade? Would you give up Järnkrok and Robertson for Ferraro? Or would you hold on to the young forward for another year, risking missing his valuation window? Do you believe Ferraro is the type of player who genuinely changes a team's defensive behavior? Or do you think aiming higher will ultimately be better? Comment below, because this is a kind of trade only time will truly judge. But the debate has already started. And if you enjoyed this long and detailed analysis, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell, because upcoming videos will continue diving into this line of quiet but decisive trades. There's more hot Leafs rumors coming your way, and you won't want to miss it. See you next time, and as always, go Leafs go!